Today we're back to sleaze, but not just regular sleaze, but sleaze with extra parmigiano. Yes, today we are talking Fulci. Now, if you don't really know me personally, you wouldn't know, but Fulci is my favorite director. Hot take incoming, way better than Dario Argento. Like, way better. And one of my favorite films from him is, surprisingly enough, this week's movie review, The New York Ripper. Why? Because it's so goddamn sleazy. Now, is this a giallo or a slasher? Who cares? It got tits, it got blood, it got gore, it got ducks. Well, the killer is making the duck sound. Whatever, it has everything a growing boy needs. And the film starts with a pretty amazing scene. An old man is playing with his dog, he then crouches down and says,
"Oh, my balls."
He then throws a stick at his dog, but his dog comes back with a hand. It then hard cuts to our big badass police officer, who will be on the case for the entire movie. He talks with the landlady of the victim, and you can see she's pretty nosy. She tells him that she listened in on a conversation through the phone, and she says the guy sounded like a duck.
Quack, 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 just like that. Not that he said quack, quack, quack.
Now, if you know anything about Fulci and his work, you know that the guy kind of has an obsession with ducks and like Donald Duck. Let's just say in Don't Torture a Duckling, the little girl has this little duck doll, and in this, the killer sounds like a duck. Our main police officer kind of ignores it and tells the lady that there's a lot of murders in this town and they'll probably never find the killer. We then meet our second victim, a cyclist, and like any cyclist, she's kind of a nuisance. She hits a car with her bike because she was distracted, and the driver is kind of a dick. Like, big dick. And on the freeway to go to Staten Island, why anybody would want to go to Staten Island is beyond me. She gets her revenge by writing insults on his windshield with her lipstick. But she gets caught by Donald Duck, the aggressive murder. And she gets destroyed, and we get our first glance at the beautiful gore and the sleaze. After that, we meet my second favorite character after the tough New York police officer, the nonchalant New York coroner, who explains to the police that, you know, this murder is kind of similar to the last one, so they might have a serial killer on their end. When New York cop goes back to his office, we meet Lucio Fulci, because he really liked to cameo in his own movies. But he always plays a small part like this one, where it's just the, police boss. That's not a thing. There he tells him that they need to find the killer ASAP to bring back the peace in New York. Peace in 80s New York, that doesn't sound right. So in response, a big tough guy police is like, yeah, I'll go get a psychiatrist to get some possible information on the weirdo. When he goes to meet him, the psychiatrist already knows what he's here for. I think Fulci kind of mistook psychiatry with psychics, because that scene was really, really weird.
You were expecting an old coot with silver temples and a German accent? How unimaginative you policemen can be.
The genius will gladly do it for a small fortune. Then we meet red herring number 1, Mikey Spelenda, a perverted Greek who goes to live sex shows. After the wonderful off-Broadway performance, we follow the adult performer into her changing room. However, there is no light, and we get to see the film's cinematography. Because just like Suspiria, this film really likes colors, and the scenes where it's all blue, all red, or all green in this case are beautiful to look at. But then we get some more sleaze. How do I say it YouTube friendly style? She gets a broken beer bottle up the pussy. No, that doesn't sound right. But watching the sex show was another important character, the wife of a rich doctor who enjoys sex quite a lot. She's quite the free spirit, and that kind of brings her to her doom. 40 minutes in, we meet our final girl. She is this very bright young woman who is dating this very bright young man. But one night on the bus, she gets attacked by the Greek with 2 fingers missing. But luckily she survives, but before that we get an incredible dream sequence in a movie theater where we also see her getting attacked by her boyfriend. That scene is surreal and atmospheric, and it really reminds you of Fulci's earlier work. Without going too into details, they blame the Greek with 2 missing fingers and they go on a chase to get him. But before that, the Greek wants to have fun with the rich wife, and they have some pretty naughty time together. But her naughty time is cut short when she hears on the radio that the killer is a Greek with 2 fingers missing. There she runs out of the motel but gets completely destroyed in another scene of amazing gore. I'm not kidding, this is probably some of the best 80s Italian gore you'll ever see. The rest of the movie is pretty typical for any giallo of the time, but I won't spoil anything because it's worth it, just maybe for the gore.
Get nice and wet.
New York Ripper, how amazing is it? It's incredible. Honestly, usually when people ask me, what's your favorite Fulci film? I'm always stuck between 2 movies, which could be surprising to a lot of Fulci fans, but it's usually New York Ripper or The Beyond, which are in some case similar but very much different. The Beyond is this gory, yes, but very atmospheric, very surreal film, and New York Ripper is this very gritty New York thriller. And something you probably haven't realized with my videos, but I love gritty New York movies. I love seeing footage of 42nd Street. I love seeing the marquees on theaters. This one has some pretty good ones, like Werewolf of London and something about anal, I think. And this film doesn't shy away from the grittiness of New York, and that's why I love it so much. The characters are sleazy dirtbags. There are no redeeming characters in this film. Even our final girl, even though I kind of spoiled by saying that, but even she is very flawed. Our main police officer is this tough, rugged New York cop, and he's not afraid and he's not taking any bullshit. And then the genius is actually a pretty good character too. And the coroner brings the comedy, because you always need some comedy after seeing a woman's nipples sliced with a razor blade. That's a great scene, by the way. Anyways, honestly, if you haven't seen this one and you love sleaze, and I mean lots of sleaze, explicit sex, lots of nudity, lots of gore, some very sleaze bag characters, do yourself a favor and I don't know, go buy it right now. Anyways, that's it for me, and see you guys next week.